So yeah, my name is Joel. I graduated 3.5 years ago from the HKU here in Utrecht on the course called Interactive Performance Design, where I studied and I work with a crossover between theater and games. That's basically what I do under the flag of my own name, and I call myself a social experience designer. I hoped to be talking about that as well today, but I noticed that 20 minutes or half an hour is really short, so maybe if one of you really likes to know more about it, you can ask me afterwards, but I'll be talking mostly about Lumistroke. It's a small little startup business that I started with a friend of mine, Mark Marcelje. He's a photographer. And what we do is we make portrait photos of people, but we edit them, or I edit them a lot in Photoshop. So we call it photo art instead of just a portrait photo. And our tagline is photo art with you in the title role, I guess, or in the starring role. And I'll be telling you about that. As any ordinary TED Talk, I'll be talking about my childhood first. So this is me when I was, I guess, about 11 or 12 years old. When I think about my youth, I think about Lego and Disney and, well, Donald Duck mostly, the weekly magazine, which I was always really excited for on Friday afternoon. And that's what I think about when I was thinking about, okay, what means fantasy to me? Well, that's this. That's building on Saturday morning, building my own little world, and pretending that I'm in it, and fantasizing about wanting really to be in that. So when I started with photography, and my brother showed me a kind of Photoshop-like program, this is one of the things I created the first time. And I imagined being in this little spaceship and being able to fly around. This is something else I did when I was in high school, during, I don't know, other classes. I took this, math test paper, and I created a map with my friends, and we gave it names, and we developed the story world, and then I developed that into a map like this on a computer, and I was really proud of myself for creating my own world. I've been doing role-playing stuff on internet fora. That you create your own character, and then everyone writes their own part of the story, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but then online and more about the story creating. I always liked to read children's books with maps like this in the front, which really took me to another world. And basically, that's what I still do. This is one of the photos I made with Mark for Lumistroke. And this is just an improved version of the one you saw before. This is for a family. We asked them to model for us, and this is one of our own ideas. Like, we thought, okay, maybe we can take that to the next level. And what would kids like to see? Where do they want to be in? And we took their own toys and their own stuff, and we went upstairs to their bedroom and made this scene, and then went downstairs and photographed them to fit in the scene. So this is their own stuff. We kind of pretended to be we kind of made it look like a race between all these different cars. And there's some audience in the back with a favorite plush toy there of one of the kids. And then this is the behind the scenes shot. This is what we photographed in the living room. And this really shows, I guess, what I find so interesting about fantasy. This is interesting. This is kind of boring for me. And that's also why we thought, okay, maybe we can make family photos, because maybe some people will agree with us that just the ordinary family photo against a white background in an empty studio, in an empty space, is not as interesting as what you could do. This is another one we made for the 3 kids. We really wanted inspiration from them, so we asked them, okay, with what animal would you like to be photographed? What is your favorite animal? And one said, well, I would like to swim with a real shark. And the other one said, well, I would like to sleep with a bear. I had a stuffed bear as a child, and it's one of the softest things I had, and really liked sleeping with it, so we photographed him with a bear. And the other one said, I would like to fly on a dragon. So these are really the primary fantasies of kids that we wanted to visualize. And this is stuff that we can do and that you cannot do in real life, of course. So we asked, or we found an origami folder, I guess, or someone who makes origami. I don't know how you call it. An origamist, I guess, maybe. Some student from Delft, I've never met him, but we found him online, and we sent him some images that we wanted to see. And we bought a book for him with the patterns in it that he needed, and he folded them and he sent them over in a box, and we photographed, or Mark photographed these on his table, which we used for the manipulation. This is another work, or this is the sort of pre-visualization of the work I'll show next. These same boys said they would like to be a pirate. We said, okay, well, we'll make that happen somehow. So I made the composition on the left, and I was really struggling with, okay, how can I fit 5 people in, because we wanted the whole family in, but still show that they're on a pirate ship, but not make their heads look really small and really far away. Because, well, pirate ships should be big, I thought. Then I came across this painting by Rembrandt, which is Jesus in the Storm, and I really loved the composition. I love to look at old master paintings to learn from composition and style and color and what works and what doesn't. So based on that painting, we made this one, and the smallest kid, that one, he walked around in his pirate costume for like 5 days afterwards. He really didn't want to let go of everything. I brought some LARP clothes with me that they wore as well, which is also something fantasy-like that I do. And yeah, these are some bed sheets that we photographed in the garden at night with a flashlight, and some of the boat and stuff is painted on in Photoshop. And this is as much about a children's fantasy as it is about a family working together and to be the storm or to be whatever they come across. Small little detail. I added a painterly look to it because I really wanted to give it a paint and old master's feeling, so I added some texture to it and added some extra brush strokes here and there. And here you can see that the part of the boat is just painted on because I couldn't find a photo that really fitted. This is another project we did. We were asked by Make-A-Wish Foundation to help create or help make true this wish of this little girl. She had an illness which required her to be in the hospital a lot. You can see her mom is holding a kind of tube. She was always attached to a tube, to a backpack, because she had, I don't know what it was, but she always had to carry that backpack with her. We postponed the shoot and the day a few times because she was too ill and she was in the hospital. But one day, we made it a reality. Her wish was one of her wishes was to fly on a unicorn. So the volunteer arranged this white horse. It's a therapeutic horse, and created this horn that you can see and the wings on the side. And our job was to photograph that and photograph her and make her fly, because that's something that they couldn't do in real life. They actually could arrange a unicorn for this girl, but they couldn't make it fly. And what I really liked about this, and that's also something that I thought about this week a lot in regards to fantasy, is that this girl knew that it was a horse with stuff added to it, but she still loved it. I mean, you don't have to pretend that something is really real, like a Santa Claus or fairy tales, for children to enjoy it. So she just went along with it, and she loved it anyway. And the horn kind of started falling off and getting loose, and the girl said, "Okay, well, just take it off. The horse doesn't like it." And then still she had a good time. So it's not about pretending that it really is real or faking something. It's about stepping into it. We made a lot of photos of the horse afterwards running around, not with the girl on it, because that was a bad idea, and without the wings and stuff, so we could add them later. And then I combined all the best photos of the horse and the girl to create this really over-the-top kitsch picture. I kind of imagined what I would like as a little girl to hang in my room and to look at each night before I went to bed. And then I thought, well, he should ride on a rainbow and have glitter and all this sunset and Disney-like clouds in the back. And I was told, I wasn't there when she got it, but I was told that she was sitting in front of this painting or this photo for like a very long time, just on the floor looking at it when she got it, while it stood there on the heating thing, radiator. This is for another family. This is another behind the scenes shot. And this is kind of the boring reality of this man standing in his living room. And here you can see some trickery that we do. I guess you may have seen some green screen movie behind the scenes stuff where they do stuff like this as well, that you know, or that we know where the guy can look at and that he can make eye contact with his dog, which is now a horse, and his pregnant wife is sitting as a Maria on top, and they're riding I don't know where. And this is really also about my own fantasy of just being a tiny human in a really big world. I guess maybe it comes from the Lego, I don't know, but I really like the idea of tiny people in a big forest. Because then the world gets really interesting again, and it becomes an unexplored terrain where you can have all kinds of adventures. This is another behind-the-scenes shot. We started a competition for people to give a new idea to us, like, okay, what would you like to be portrayed as? And the mom of this boy said, well, my son is a soccer player, so he really wants to be a professional soccer player one day. He plays soccer in a kind of selection team of Ajax, which was really good and cool. And he also happened to be kind of a child model, so he knew what he was doing as well. And he had fabulous hair. I'll show you in a minute. And we made him jump hundreds of times on these mattresses, which you did. That's cool. And then we took all the best photos and created this Nike-like professional soccer player kick-ass photo, which maybe someday will be a reality for him. Well, and I guess I don't really have to explain the fantasy in this one. This is another one. I don't have that much to say about it, except that I dream a lot that I can fly, and it would be awesome, but also scary in this way. And a nice little touch I added, I think, that I want to point out is that there's a what is it, an ooievaar in English?
Stork.
A stork, which stood for the child that was still yet to come, that you saw the woman being pregnant with in the other photo. So I kind of added the third child as a kind of nudge. Well, another fantasy, I guess. This is also way over the top, but I thought I had been struggling with this one for days, and I still don't think it's that perfect. But at some moment you have to finish it, I guess, and stop working on it. Yeah, and this is also a picture where I thought, okay, I want every detail to be perfect, because I had posters in my room when I was a kid like this. One was a jungle, and I stared at it every night before I went to bed, so I knew every little detail. So when I'm making stuff like this, I think about, okay, she's going to look at this, and she's going to know everything in this picture. So I want everything to be good and to be interesting. There's a really tiny deer here in the gate. This is a family of, I don't know, theater people. Yeah, some of you already recognize it based on the builders of the Empire State Building photo. And the son is wearing this harness kind of thing, because he actually works at a very high, elektriciteitsmasten, the electricity mast, or hoogspanningsmasten. Sorry? Electric pylon, okay. Didn't know that, thanks. And the father has a renting company in theater equipment and technical theater stuff, so they're kind of a family of builders and creators as well. That's why I guess they wanted this photo. This is me with my brother, his girlfriend, and my parents. We have a yearly tradition of making a Christmas photo, and I wanted to exploit them for concepting a new Lumstroke creation. So I made them sit on tables and chairs and stuff, and then edit those out afterwards. It's kind of a variation on the quite popular theme in photography and editing, to make people fly and float and stuff like that. But then I thought we could be all together as a clump in the air. This is a concept that I'm not really finished with yet, but I thought I would show something that's in development as well. I have a lot of files like this just laying around my hard drive. And this is also about my fantasy of just, well, what would be the best place to sleep as a baby, I guess. not in the freezing cold on top of a really dangerous polar bear, but being protected and in the really the softest place on earth, I guess. Now I'll be transitioning into some autonomous work, so this is not really part of the Lumstroke stuff, but just something that I wanted to create. This was the first project that I will work on with, or that I worked on with Mark. And in work like this, I always want to pre-visualize stuff to see if you have the right photos, if you have the right material, and then edit together stuff part by part, adds to it, and see if the composition is good as well. So we made this pre-visualization, and from this point on, we already photographed this girl and made some photos like this beforehand, so we knew what the angle would be and where her hand should be and stuff like that. And then from this point, we found the other model that replaced me. So we created this from it. And what we were trying to do here, Mark and I, was really telling a story in one picture. I really like those pictures that you can, or those photos that have this whole story fitted in one image. So in the back you can see here, it's a hospital, and I want to add some shoes or something in the back here, that you can see that this woman is walking out of the hospital, and you can also see that she has a bracelet on. So the question is, what kind of hospital is it, and is this real or not? I like to think it is. And I really like here, what I wanted to do was create a contrast between something ordinary, like a tea glass, and fairy tale-like stuff, to make it kind of edgy. And what I really like to do is try to bring the fantasy as much into reality as possible. So that's why I took something like an ordinary tea glass to make it seem more realistic, I guess. These are photos that I took in Aleppo, in Syria, in the souk. It's a beautiful place. It's a kind of overdekte markt, a bazaar. Sorry? Yeah, no, but then better. Yeah, it's kind of like these, like here, these buildings or these tunnels.
Covered with.
Yeah. Well, you can see it on the picture what it is. And I guess they bombed it now. I heard some on the news a few years ago that it doesn't exist anymore. So I'm really glad that I went there. And I wanted to create something with these photos and try to capture the feeling that I got when I walked there, but then also tell this whole story in one photo. And I guess my photography was or isn't that good that I could do that in one picture. So I combined them and took the really beautiful wooden roofing of a bathhouse that was there and stretched it out over the whole hallway or the whole street, and tried to create a composition that was even more magical, maybe, or as the scene itself, or as the place itself. Now I'll be transitioning or telling a really small bit about my other experience design work. This is a newspaper clipping that we sent to Naturalis as a team. I made with some other people, and we were working on an interactive theater play for kids and families about little creatures living in the museum. And the kids would chase them and always just see the trails of them, like a fallen flower pot. And on their way learn about different animals, learn about what these creatures would do, and learn about how to recognize animals, how to track them and stuff like that. And we created this fake news clipping to get Naturalis interested and kind of invite them into our story world as if it was real. So it says Naturalis is haunted by a mysterious kind of animal in the title, and we also edited in the name of the director or of the chairman of the museum. And these animals are a kind of monkey-like creatures, but then more human than any monkey. And they kind of bridge the gap between animals and humans, or animals and fairies and humans. And as you can see here, they really existed, because why otherwise would there be images like this all over the globe of really human-like monkeys? And I tried to visualize them as well. Here are some of my attempts. Some are better than others, and then in my search for these creatures and if they would really exist, and then where would they come from, and how were they created, or how do they fit in the evolution, and why don't we know about them already? I found this website of a Dutch nature photographer who published a map of Zeist and Utrecht in the vicinity here in the forest, where he found all kinds of different fairy houses in the forest. And these are some photos that he took. These are little footsteps in the sand. This is a little house that he found. And well, yeah, something must have made it, of course. These are some others. So these you can find in the forest in Zeist when you go look into that map. And I mean, I think that's one of the best ways to go on a walk with your kids or your family through the forest. You just have this map and you say, okay, well, now we go to these coordinates, and then you go look for these little fairy houses. Much more interesting than just, I don't know, going on a walk and having your kids bored because there's nothing to do there or to fantasize about, maybe. This is one of the creatures that he found. They really like raisins and apple juice, so he put those out in front of the houses or near the houses and then waited as a nature photographer in the woods covered in a camouflage blanket for hours maybe to be able to take shots like these. This is another one. They really have a good connection with animals, as you can see. And you can also follow him on Instagram and the clear title, Real Fairy Photos. And these are portraits that he took, and there will be more. He told me so. That's my presentation.